Good morning from a chilly and icy Athens, Georgia. My name is Brad Averill, and I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to you about my family, my education, and my work experience, and why I chose University of West Georgia for my second master's degree. We will start off with an introduction to my family. That's a picture of myself and my wife when we got married in 2016. We met in 2006. So with a little math, you can see that we have been together for 20 years this past January 13th. We don't have any children. We do have a lot of fur babies. This is a picture of three of them. That's Molly, the Cocker Spaniel. The upper right is Magdalena, and the bottom right is Max. They were our first three fur babies. We are very lucky to still have Max around on the bottom right. He's the little toy poodle down there. He is 15 years old. That's a picture of three of our dogs. We currently have 9 dogs. My wife works at an animal hospital, so we're not like a weird dog hoarding family. My wife just takes a dog in whenever somebody says they can't take him in anymore. So we take the worst of the worst and give them the best. Our motto around here is they're not here for a long time, but they're here for a good time. We also have a garage full of cats and some outside cats. So we have lots of animals, lots of fur babies. So taking care of animals is pretty much my part-time job. A little bit about my education. I did go to Grand Valley State University for my Bachelor of Science in Physical Education, and then I attended the University of South Florida to get a Master of Arts in Physical Education as well. My lifelong dream was to be a high school PE teacher, and I got a chance to experience that dream, but come to find out it wasn't as much of a dream as it was just kind of ho-hum, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. We'll talk for just a minute about some of the hobbies I have. I really enjoy running as much as anybody can actually enjoy the act of running. I have the opportunity at least once a year to follow a friend of mine around the country. He does 100-mile races, so I get to travel all across the country and run the last 20 or so miles with him to finish out his races. This past year, we went to the Bighorn 100, which is in Montana and Wyoming, so I got to run 20 miles through the Bighorn Mountains with my friend Matt. I wasn't always a runner, but after following him around for a little bit, I realized that as long as you can continue to put one foot in front of the other, running actually isn't so bad. And on the right, that is a photo from my first 50K that I ran in Nebraska in 2017. It was the Bohemian Alps 50K. It was probably the greatest and the worst experience of my life at the same time. I had blisters on each of my feet after about 11 miles into the race because I wore the wrong shoes and the wrong socks. So it was torture. To be honest, it wasn't really a ton of fun, but it taught me a lot about how to prepare and how to have perseverance to get through something difficult. As you can tell, maybe by my accent, I don't say y'all. I'm not from the South. I was born and raised in Michigan, and I stayed in Michigan until 2008 when I graduated with my bachelor's degree. And then myself and my girlfriend, my now wife, we decided that we wanted to go someplace else where we don't have to deal with the ice and snow. And fast forward about 20 years, and it's snowing and sleeting in Athens today. But we tried to get away from it, at least for a few months out of the year. In an effort to make sure we got away from the snow permanently, we decided to pack up all of our things and move to Orlando, Florida. We didn't have a job. We didn't have a house or a place to live. We just packed a U-Haul full of our stuff and we moved to Orlando, Florida. And we decided, you know what, we'll get down here and we'll figure it out as we go. We took a big risk, but it ended up having a big reward. After getting my bachelor's degree in physical education from Grand Valley State University, all the people on campus said, go to Florida, lots of teaching jobs. So that also combined with the fact that Orlando had sunny weather almost every single day and it was hot, we moved to Florida. And we got to Florida and they said, just kidding, there are no teaching jobs here. So I had to find something else. And I picked up a position as a YMCA program director for the YMCA of Central Florida. I did summer camps, after school programs, and sports leagues for youth sports. It was a good experience. I got a chance to work with kids. I got a chance to work with volunteers. And I also got a chance to act in a supervisory role where some locations I had 1 staff, some locations I had 10 staff, and there's other locations where it was me and 50 part-time staff every single day. So I learned a lot, and it was a valuable working experience, but it still didn't exactly tickle the itch that I was looking for. Upon completing my master's degree, I found the opportunity to work as a physical education teacher at Poinciana High School in Orlando, Florida. My dream job. It was super exciting. I looked forward to it. I got a chance to coach varsity baseball and varsity cross country, and those two things I really enjoyed. What I didn't enjoy was the teaching aspect. It was me and 75 kids every period by myself, and there was very little support from the administration or the other PE teachers. So every single day in the gym, it was 225 kids and 3 teachers, and 2 of the teachers had checked out as they had 25 to 30 years teaching, and they were kind of just waiting for the finish line. So I was a new teacher. I was coming in. I was excited with lots of ideas, and a lot of my ideas were stifled because the 2 teachers that were with me really just wanted to roll the balls out every day and not really do any teaching. That photo on the left, the kids are actually sitting on exercise balls. I got a $10,000 grant to pay for exercise balls for my students to actually have a place to sit and kind of absorb some of that information that we would go through educationally every day to get them to learn something about being physically active and actually emphasize the education portion of physical education. So 2 years was great, but at the end of 2 years, I realized I was going to start resenting the job, resenting the kids, and resenting my colleagues if I didn't find something else. I put out a nationwide search to try to find something that I thought would be fulfilling and something that would be able to give back to the community and something that I enjoyed. When I worked at the YMCA as a summer camp director, I had an opportunity to work with the University of Florida's Cooperative Extension. They had staff that would come into the summer camp every single day during the summer, do a 30 to 45-minute lesson on physical activity or nutrition, and then they would leave. And I thought, that's amazing. That sounds like the perfect job. No parents to deal with. Kids were there for just a short period of time, so they didn't really have that much time to get into trouble. And I put out a nationwide search all across the country to figure out where I could find a job in cooperative extension. And I found a job at the University of Nebraska. So as you can tell from this photo, I moved to a cornfield. Let's talk a little bit more about that job. In 2016, I took a position as a faculty extension educator for food, nutrition, and health for the University of Nebraska. It was a great job. My job was to go to elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools across 4 different counties and do lessons on physical activity and nutrition in hopes to improve the physical and nutritional literacy of the kids in my classrooms. It was a great job. It was a rural Nebraska, so the classes were small, the schools were small. Ideally, I would go to each school system once a month, and I would go kindergarten through 12th grade all day long. So I'd start with kindergarten in the morning, teach a lesson for 20 minutes, and then go to 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and eventually at the end of the day, I would end up with the 12th graders. So I had to modify my lessons every single day. I learned a lot about improvising. I learned a lot about the different teaching styles that you have to have when teaching kindergartners and teaching high school students. It was a perfect job. I really enjoyed it. The problem was I felt like I was repeating myself after the 2nd year to the same kids, the same information. And while it was great, you can talk to a kid about eating blueberries until you're blue in the face, but if those kids aren't going home and making the groceries. They're not buying the groceries, they're not making the meals. So while I'm hoping to instill some of those lifelong behaviors while they're kids and while they're young, still, if they're not having access to these sort of things, it's not going to make a huge difference. So I had a great job. I took the opportunity as a faculty member to use that to my strength, to go out and to try to find a job that worked better for me. Also, fun fact, when I told my wife I was taking a job at the University of Nebraska and then I was moving to the middle of the country where there was very few people and really gnarly weather in the winter, she said, thanks, but no thanks. So I saw her about every 9 weeks and I sent paychecks back and forth, but she was very comfortable staying at our home in Florida with palm trees and the swimming pool. So also, part of my motivation was to find a place where I thought my wife would move so we could rejoin our family again. And that's exactly what happened at my next stop. While I enjoyed my job at the University of Nebraska, I always knew that that job would just be a stepping stone for me to be able to get a job somewhere else where I really wanted, where I could establish a career. But I also knew that having that University of Nebraska on my resume would help me secure a job pretty much wherever I wanted to, wherever I could find an opening. In cooperative extension, we do have an office in every county, in every state in the United States. So in every county, no matter where you're from in the country, there's an extension faculty in that county. So I put out a nationwide search to try to find a place that worked best for me, that worked best for my family, and for my future. And this is how I landed here in the photo you can see in Athens, Georgia. Let's talk about my job. This brought me to the University of Georgia's Cooperative Extension as a family and consumer sciences agent. I had the opportunity every day to use research-based education to improve the lives of Georgians with nutritional literacy, physical literacy, chronic disease prevention and management, food preservation, food safety, financial literacy. we're kind of the Swiss Army knives at the University of Georgia's Cooperative Extension, especially in the family and consumer sciences realm. We try to do everything we can to make sure you're living your best life. And this job has been amazing for me. I've been here now 8.5 years. I had the opportunity to make a difference in my community, both in person and virtually, and it's really changed folks' lives. The picture on the left is with our healthy ambassadors for 4-H. Those students come to Rock Eagle, our 4-H camp, every single year, and we teach them the different ways in which they can go back to their communities and their counties and teach the 4-Hers in those counties some healthy lifestyle habits. The photo in the middle is from one of my walkaway classes. We meet once a week and we talk about the different ways in which to prevent those different kinds of cancers and diabetes and chronic diseases. And then after that 15-minute discussion, we all walk together for the next 45 minutes. The program is aptly named Walkaway. And then on the right, I also do food safety certification for restaurants. So anytime you go into a restaurant, you're looking for that blue and white piece of paper behind the register that indicates that they have completed the 8-hour Serve Safe Food Protection Manager training. And it's great. It helps me be, again, a valued member of the community. And I'm just excited to be able to be the face of health and wellness in the communities that I work in. I've been here 8.5 years. Like I said, the first 5 years were in Madison and Oglethorpe County, both rural counties here in the state of Georgia. And then the last 3 years, I've been in Athens, Clarke County, right here in the middle of the University of Georgia. The last couple minutes, I'll just talk to you about why I want to get a master's degree at the University of West Georgia. I really think it'll help facilitate better discussions with the participants of my programs in which I can talk about those different ways to integrate some health and well-being practices in the programs that I'm currently already doing. It'll be a supplement. It won't be something additional. It won't be something extra. It will be something to help supplement the work that I'm doing in the community to try to make my community healthier. I'm looking forward to a wonderful semester, a wonderful experience here at the University of West Georgia, and I look forward to meeting and interacting with you all as we go out through this journey. Have a wonderful day, everybody.